Welcome to Help I'm a Parent, Christian parenting in the real world. We're so happy that you have invited us to enter into your home, your church, or wherever you may be gathered today. We are delighted that you have joined us on this program as we discuss your God-given role of parenting.
We're your hosts, Drs. Claudio and Pamela Consuegra. Together we serve as the Directors of Family Ministries for the North American Division of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. We believe that one of the most important roles you will ever play is being a parent.
In the midst of a secular society, it's so easy to leave God out of the training of our children. The purpose of this series is to not only put God back into the equation, but to place Him at the very center.
Parenting stretches us and shapes us like no other experience on this earth. It is a sacred responsibility, and there is no higher calling. It is a calling that has its shares of joys as well as challenges. It is a calling that demands a big investment on your part if it is to yield results. And yet, those returns on your investment will last throughout eternity.
Today, we are going to discuss making family memories. I recently read a story about a family who had tried unsuccessfully for years to save up enough money to replace their ancient bathroom fixtures with a new, modern, sleek look. But each year, as the skiing time rolled around, all that bathroom money went for the family skiing trip. The children are now grown up, and the son recently wrote a letter to his parents. He talked about that annual skiing trip and the wonderful memories he had of them. His father chuckled as he read the letter, and he said to his wife, "Honey, I'm so glad we spent all that bathroom money for those skiing trips. I can't imagine our son writing home and saying, 'I sure do remember all those wonderful bathroom fixtures.'" They may not have had the most modern fixtures in their home, but they spent time making positive memories.
Our children are with us such a short time. What have you done with them lately to build some beautiful memories? The dictionary defines tradition as memories, customs, habits, and information handed down from one generation to another over the years that become time-honored practices. Making memories and creating traditions is a priceless gift to give to your children. Today we're going to look at ways to create positive memories with your children. It's a priceless gift and one that will last a lifetime.
Our special guest today is Dr. Carlton Byrd, Senior Pastor of the Oakwood University Seventh-day Adventist Church on the campus of Oakwood University in Huntsville, Alabama, and the Speaker Director for the Breath of Life television broadcast.
Dr. Byrd is a graduate of Oakwood University with dual degrees, as Bachelor of Arts in Theology and a Bachelor of Science in Business Management. He's also a graduate of Tennessee State University in Nashville, Tennessee, where he earned a Master's of Business Administration degree, and a graduate of Andrews University in Berrien Springs, Michigan, where he earned both a Master's of Divinity and a Doctor of Ministry degree. Dr. Byrd is happily married to his wife of 18 years, and they are the proud parents of 3 daughters. Welcome, Dr. Byrd. We're delighted to have you with us today.
Glad to be here. Thank you very much.
But before we begin our conversation with Dr. Byrd, we're going to visit in the home of the Cortez family as they talk with us about the importance of making memories with our children.
One of the things that we enjoy doing with our family is building memories, because with little kids, 10 and 8, we want to make sure that as they grow up and they become men and they have their own families, that they will be able to look back to the times that they had together with their parents. A lot of the things that I do nowadays and that we do as a family, they come from the traditions that I learned from my parents, So it's really good. For example, one of the things that I love to do is support our oldest son, Jose. He's a great baseball player. So we like going to the games. This is something that we enjoy doing, but we want to model this for when they have their own kids. They're able to do the same.
That they're never too busy to take time out for a sports game.
What else is fun that we do?
Vacation, of course. Family vacation. Yeah. Love them. Every year we make sure we have vacation. We take time out. We bring grandparents along, Jose's parents that live here, because we want the kids to have a great relationship with their grandparents, and to enjoy time with their grandparents.
And these are very fun times At times we go away, but at times we just stay home and we do nice, how do they call it? Staycation.
Okay,
you know? So you don't have to have a lot of money to do, just make sure you do it.
But we make sure your grandparents come along, your parents come along, their grandparents, so they can learn, you know, so when they're older, they make sure to invite us.
That's right. We want to make sure that's all they know. Vacations without grandparents are not fun.
I think so. That's right. Yeah, right. We'll see.
Another tradition that we have that
dinner time. Anytime we eat together, we're always eating together. TV's off. We make sure we sit around the table, we talk.
Every night, we mostly stand around the aisle, but we just make sure that we're together all the time.
That's right. What's really nice is Sabbath, Friday nights.
Yeah. That's
a special one for us.
We always do communion, right?
Yes, so we set up
Friday night we do communion.
And we have a nice setting. I do the communion bread.
And grape juice.
And we just discuss what Jesus did for us and how much he loves us. We want to make sure
the kids lead it out.
They lead it out because we really want them to know that Jesus loves them no matter what.
And then at the end, we always have prayer, but the prayer is a little bit different. We want to make sure that we bless each other. So we go around, and one of the boys puts his hand on my head and blesses me, and then I bless the other one, and the other one blesses you, and you bless.
The circle,
so it is. We end up with a blessing. You know, we go around and we bless each other in the name of Jesus. These are memories that make a huge difference. You know? And that we're hoping that as the kids grow up, and as they become men that are a blessing to not only to our family but to the community and to the world, that they will remember these things.
You probably remember some of the things that happened when you were growing up in your own parents' home. What are some of your favorite memories of your childhood?
Well, I remember growing up, my brother and I were twins.
Oh.
My father was an avid basketball player. Oh. And I would say by the time we got to 6th, 7th, 8th grade, middle school, he would take us 3 nights a week, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, with him to play basketball. And those great times, fond memories, playing basketball together with my brother, my father. Ironically, my mother would watch, and our sister, she would play as well. And just great times together to be able to play basketball together. And so with that, I just remember those days so very well. He would put us in leagues, in the city, church leagues, city leagues, and just the camaraderie to be able to play together and talk with one another. It was just great.
And now that you have 2 daughters, are you also playing basketball with them? Or?
Well, we have 3 daughters, as you know.
3 now, okay,
but
that's right.
The two older ones, the answer to that is yes.
Yes.
We go to the park and we play together, and sure enough, they are in leagues. They play for their school. As well, and so it's a great family pastime. Their little sister, she's only 2, and she cheers for them. My wife cheers, and so it's a great time to interact and engage one another, all the while we're exercising. So it's a win-win.
It's a double exercise, a double enjoyment.
That's right.
Yeah, wow.
That's right.
And you know, Dr. Bird, as we talk about this whole topic of making memories, it has nothing to do with the material things we purchase for our children that sometimes we think is important. But if we go back even as adults and think of our favorite childhood memories, they're centered around time together. You know, they're not centered around the things we have. But also, as it comes to this, how important is it to make the spiritual connection with the memories? You know, we saw in the video clip this whole idea of blessing each other, and that's something that they remember. So talk with us a little bit about not just making memories, but making memories that have to do with our faith.
Interesting you say that. It's so true as it relates to the importance of making memories also in a spiritual context. Friday nights for my family are very special. We bring in the Sabbath hours together, and ironically, the same way my family would have family worship on Friday nights is the same way my wife's family would have worship on Friday nights. And so some of the same traditions that she had, my family, we had. And so now that we are husband and wife, we have our traditions that are kind of rooted in what we grew up in.
Did you know that before you got married?
Ironically, I was at her home one Friday evening prior to our getting married for family worship and bringing in the Sabbath. And I was just amazed because the identical way her family would bring in the Sabbath, we would do the same.
Well, I wonder how couples that don't have that same tradition, how they make it happen in their own home. Let's say that your wife's family did it differently than you. I wonder how then they can adapt. Maybe they begin new ones?
Perhaps they begin a new one, and I'm sure they do. But it's great for us. We begin with singing a couple of songs, then we recite our favorite memory text. After we have recited our favorite memory text, we'll read a devotional and have a thought. And it's an opportunity where we rotate with kids where they can read the devotional. And then at the end, we have a closing prayer, and we pray from the youngest to the oldest. And that's our same way, identical way that my wife's family, my family, we used to do. So we do that at home, and our kids look forward to it. And it's to the point we don't have to tell them anymore. They know exactly what to do.
So it's become a generational thing. Now it's a third generation learning the same thing, the same tradition.
And should the Lord delay us coming, my hope and prayer is that in their homes, they will do the very same thing.
And that is a very important point that we want to make sure that we make is it's not just creating memories for memory's sake, but you mentioned you do this today because you experienced it as a child growing up. And so as you bring that tradition now, those memories into your home and practice those same things with your children, that they will carry that on then into their homes when they become young adults and have families of their own. And that's so important, I think, to remember that this is indeed generational. It continues on.
And it's very important also, as you mentioned earlier, with the spiritual tone, that this is something that will be generational.
Right.
But it also is within the context of spiritual growth and spiritual maturation.
Right.
And even when it gets to the point that our children may be away from home, being in college or whatnot, that I know for myself, we still followed and practiced the same thing. Because I'm a twin, my brother and I were roommates in college, and we practiced the same thing. Now, we're both the same age. He's 5 minutes older than I am. So I would have to pray first, and then he prayed. But spiritually, it enables you to grow, and you're able to make memories from a spiritual context as well.
Now, in your case, again, it came from your parents, but not all traditions begin with our parents. We can initiate our own traditions. It's interesting that we don't really set out to start a tradition.
Correct.
Just simply evolve with time.
Correct.
Can you maybe share with us any that you have started as a family from the time that you got married?
Well, for us, starting with family, a tradition we have when we go to Disney World,
okay.
and we try to systematically go, we make sure that we get to the end of the night, when they have the nice parade at Disney World. Okay. And we always have to make sure that we have the funnel cake.
Yes.
And they look forward to it.
Yes.
The powdered sugar?
Yes, it's good.
Is it good to be strict about it? You know, we've always gone there, so we're going to keep going there whether you like it or not. I
don't think that's necessarily the case or should be the case at all times. I'm pretty sure things will change. It may not be Disney World, maybe somewhere else. Yeah. But I think it's the importance of family vacation, that this is time specifically set aside for family. With my schedule, it's very difficult because it's very demanding. Yes. And I think that our girls, they really, really appreciate the specific intentional time that we can have together as a family. So it may not be Disney, it may be somewhere else. Right. Now, if it is somewhere else, we may still have to do the funnel cake. But I think the main thing is spending that quality time where they feel and they know that they're special.
Now, you mentioned your travel schedule and your busy schedule.
Yes.
So you probably are away from home a lot of the time.
Correct.
So how do you maintain those traditions, that family continuity when you're away?
So with my travel schedule with the ministry, we try to make it that every trip during the summer, the girls are able to accompany us. So with my wife and I, with our being gone, we try to make sure during the summer that they're there.
And you can't do it during the school year.
Correct. Yeah. And it has proven to be a great thing. They've been able to visit and travel and go places that have broadened them, exposed them. Again, we're making memories.
Differences, yeah.
We're making memories as it relates to the trip and what took place and what transpired.
Yes.
And so during the summers, we try to make sure that we are all together with all the trips. Another thing, during the school year, I make it a point that every day I'm in town, when I'm driving into work, that I drive them to school. And so we're about 30 minutes from the elementary school and where I pastor the Oakwood Church. It's all on the same campus. I value that, 30 minutes where we're able to spend together just talking.
Even that short period of time. Thank you so much. We're going to come back in a minute because we want to continue the conversation with Dr. Bird about building family memories, those memories that are special to our families. Come back. You can probably already tell that we will not be able to cover every area, every concern, or every question you may have in the short time that we have together. Parenting will continue to produce new challenges and new questions every day. As our children grow and change, so do the parenting challenges we face.
And therefore, our goal is to continue this conversation with up-to-date resources and practical parenting tips that you can apply in your day-to-day parenting journey. We will do this online via our website, www.helpimaparent.org. And there you may keep up to date on all of our newly released parenting resources, supplemental products, and even find additional materials to download free of charge.
You're also invited to submit any questions that were not answered for you, subscribe to an electronic newsletter, read a blog for parents, and much more. Again, the accompanying website is helpimaparent.org.
And in addition to that website, we also have a Facebook page where we post daily words of encouragement and resources. So look us up on Facebook, Help, I'm a Parent. And remember, share that Facebook post with the friends in your social network.
It is our desire that this resource will assist you in your God-given role as a parent by using principles that are firmly grounded in the Word of God. Now let's get back to our conversation with today's guests.
Welcome back to our conversation with Dr. Bird. Before the break, we were talking about making memories in regards to vacations or going to Disney World or trips. But what about on a day-to-day basis? You know, we're so busy. There's work, there's school. What about the instances around just your everyday life in your home that you can make memories?
As I shared earlier, before the break, I spoke of the time I spend with our daughters on the way to school, taking them, and that allows for time for dialogue and conversation. Also, big in our home is the dinner meal.
Yes.
The dinner meal, if it's sitting around the table together as a family, if it's at a restaurant together, you know, that's big, an opportunity for us to pray together, to have that meal together.
So don't take those, what seems like unimportant times, don't take them as unimportant because they are very important.
Very important. And, you know, with our family, you know, we have varied ages, one in high school, one in middle school, and then we have a 2-year-old. Everyone is doing something. Everyone is involved with a project at school, basketball at school, soccer. Everyone is involved, choir. And so that family meal, at the end of the day, for us, that's critical.
Oh, yes.
But again, it's making memories. Again, it's intentional time. It's an opportunity for us to talk about the day and what's going on.
And the studies have confirmed that, the importance of that family meal. Especially for girls and boys as well. The incidence of teen pregnancy goes down. The incidence of alcohol or drug abuse for boys goes down. The incidence of depression goes down. So the family meal is very important.
Very important.
But I think you used a very important word, Dr. Bird, intentional. Because with the busyness of our schedules today, let's face it, it's a lot easier to pick up fast food on the way home or to give our children a sandwich and chips or something and put them in front of the TV. But being very intentional about things like dinner as a family around the table, I think that's so important.
Of course, that brings me to a thought here, Dr. Bird. What about the single parent? Some of them have to work 2 jobs just to be able to keep their household, have 3 kids at home. How do they build those memories that will be enriching to their children's lives?
My observation of single parents, that have a very demanding schedule and they have to make ends meet and whatnot for their family. I think there's an appreciation by the children, from what I see, when they are intentional, that word again, about making time for them and with them.
Okay.
Specifically, it may be challenging during the week, but I think on the weekend, I've seen single parents in the churches I've pastored where they will carve out specific time on Sabbath, as well as even on Sunday, be it accompany them to Pathfinders or church activities. Sure. I view this, and I think the children really have a great appreciation for that. Children are smart.
Right.
And they understand the demands of life, the rigors of life, and they have an appreciation for that single parent who is trying to make life enjoyable for them, comfortable for them. But I think there's a great appreciation as well and cognizance that, look, my parent is taking time out specifically for me. So if that just happens on the weekend, I think they develop.
So it sounds to me like in some cases, it may not be the quantity of time, but at least the quality of time.
That's correct. Yeah. That's correct.
We want both.
Correct.
But for single parents, there may not be as much time, but the quality of time that they spend with the kids.
And I'm sure, you hear as well as I do that, over time when children at graduations or special events, they offer testimonies of their lives.
Right.
They share that. They say, my parent worked hard, they sacrificed, but it wasn't always the quantity, but the quality that they gave me.
That's right.
And I want to thank my parents for what they did to help me become who I am today.
That's
so you hear those testimonies all the time.
Yeah.
So again, I believe that intentional quality time that is set aside, I think there's a great appreciation for that from children of single parents.
Right.
And we are specifically addressing parents who have children ages 8 to 12 in this series. So if you think about children today, that age group, what are they doing usually? They're hooked up to their iPhone, their iPad, their iPod. I'm listening to music. You talked about the car trips and making use of every little moment, like even driving your daughter to school. But I think what we see a lot today is the child may be in the back going to school, but plugged in. So I think, being intentional about unplugging and let's connect on a face-to-face conversation level, as opposed to with our technology.
How do you manage that with your daughters there?
Well, it's interesting you say, you're correct. You say sometimes, put your phone down.
Right.
Put the iPhone down, put the iPad down, let's talk.
Yeah.
And in fact, in the car, sometimes road trips, if I have a preaching assignment, let's say 2-3 hours away, we'll take a road trip.
Yeah.
And in the road trip, it's fun. And we'll play games together. I grew up back in my day, of course, we didn't have iPhones like we have them now and iPads and whatnot. So we played the alphabet game. And that would help the time
on the road,
go by.
Right.
And so sure enough, with that age group,
Z are always problematic.
they're always problematic. So that age group, 8 to 12, we have found that, my wife and I, we found that with our girls. They enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Let's, alphabet game. Another game we play in the car, I Spy.
Yes.
I spy, I'm seeing this, and we try to guess.
Yes.
But again, it promotes interaction and promotes engagement without all the distractions of life. And so we enjoy it. Also in the car, this time, we'll put a CD and we'll sing a song.
Oh, yes.
And we'll all sing together.
Right.
And I'll tease them, you're not singing this part right. You're not doing this note right. Dad, you're hard on us even with singing. It's an opportunity for us to sing together.
It's not just the destination, but it's the journey.
That's correct.
Too.
Another challenging situation we find sometimes nowadays is grandparents raising their grandchildren. How can those grandparents build memories for the grandchildren? I
think similarly, they can do some things that are done just with parents who are younger, who have children. I think it's important for them to also intentionally make effort to spend time. I think it's important. One good thing I would say, if you're a grandparent and you're raising your grandson or your granddaughter, it keeps you fresh. It keeps you relevant to today's times. And I think wisdom, experience, particularly stories that can be shared with grandchildren from the grandparents, I think are very, very profitable,
always
beneficial.
trying to maintain that balance and respect for their own children. You don't want to get involved in your children's parenting style.
Correct.
but it doesn't mean that you can't express that love and, again, pass on traditions even from their own parents and on down.
Correct. And I think with grandparents, I think of my own experience, they have that uncanny ability to be able to discipline in a way that is so accepting from the child, from the grandchild. You know, they just, comes to my grandma, comes to my grandpa, and let's, you know, they begin to rub that back, and they
don't even realize they're being disciplined or corrected.
And so that, I know for me, was a blessing. Yeah. And I can see that even with my own children, with my parents, as well as my wife's parents, they just have a special way of doing that. And I say to myself, and I say to my parents and my in-laws, I say all the time, now you all would have disciplined us much harder than you're doing today. What is it about grandkids? And they just smile, but yet they're able to still get the desired result from the grandchild. I think that's very, very beneficial and profitable.
What would you say in about 2 seconds to a parent to transmit those memories to their children?
Life is short. They grow up fast. Take the time and be intentional to make memories with your child.
Yes. Dr. Burt, thank you so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure just to know more about you and your experience with your daughters, and for your great advice to parents. We really appreciate you being here.
Thank you. The privilege has been mine.
We want to thank you for joining us as we explore the topic of making positive memories in our family. We also want to remind you to visit our parenting website, www.helpimaparent.org. There you will find many additional resources and materials.
As much as you love your child, God loves them even more. He has appointed you as their steward, their caretaker, during their lives here on earth. But more important, He's entrusted you with the task of preparing them for their forever home in heaven with Him.
God never said that parenting would be easy, but He did say that He will never leave us or forsake us. The Creator who knit our children together in the womb and has numbered the very hairs of their heads holds the blueprint for their lives. Claim His promises and invite Him to co-parent with you.
It's been our privilege to have you join us over these 10 sessions. God has called you to partner with Him in parenting your child. Claim His promises, hold on to His hand, and continue to make those positive memories. Material gifts that we give our children will soon be gone, but the memories will last a lifetime. May Jesus be the center of your home, and may He richly bless you and your family today.